Thank you. All. Feels like it's been a while, but it's been 2 weeks. So how was Reverend Sunshine and Reverend Donna? Yeah? They're two of my favorites. I'd like to hear them too. So this morning, what gifts will you be giving? Have you guys already thought about who you have to give gifts to and what you're getting for them? And who gets excited about gift giving? Who gets kind of like overwhelmed and stressed out about it? Yeah. It's fun when you like know, oh, this is going to bring them so much joy, and it's frustrating and annoying when you feel like obligated, right? Oh, I have to get this person, this person, this person, this person. I want to share a story with you that I heard about this old Irish family. This woman had 3 sons, and they were all grown up, and they had left home, and they all came back for Christmas, and they were around the table, and they were bragging about what they got their mom. So the oldest one's like, I just built Mom a brand new luxury house that has 8 bedrooms. And the middle child's like, well, I just got her a Mercedes with a driver. And then the youngest one, he goes, well, I got you all beat. Mom loves the Bible, and you know that she can't read very well anymore because she can't see. So I got her a parrot that was trained for 12 years by a monk to recite every verse of the Bible. All you have to do is tell them a chapter and a verse, and they can recite anything. And so they're all bragging. And then they leave, and a month later or so, the mom sends them each a thank you card. And she tells her first son, she says, thank you for the gift of the house, but it's way too big. I use 1 room and now have to clean 7 other ones. And she said to her second son, she goes, I appreciate the car, but I don't really go anywhere. I'm too old, and the driver's rude anyway. And then she says to her youngest son, she goes, oh, my dearest son, you know me so well. The chicken was delicious. Isn't that kind of how it goes? You get so excited to give your kid this awesome gift, and then they love the box instead of the toy, Oh my goodness. So we were away on vacation, and I got to hear this comedian, and she was kind of an adult comedian, anyway, but at the end, she said something really inspiring, and she left us with a challenge. She left us with these 3 challenges, and I thought, you know what? Those would make the best gifts, the best holiday gifts. They're free. We all have them. We could all give them if we tried. We could all give them to ourselves if we tried, and why not, right? So the gifts that we give, I want to invite us to think about giving these 3 gifts. And the gifts are, well, actually, I'm going to tell you something. You know Johnny Depp? You know that good-looking man who, Okay. Well, he also seems to be very wise because he asked this question. He said, what is the most valuable thing in life? What is the most valuable thing in life? What is spirituality? What is it that keeps us wanting to be alive? And what is it that we would die for? And what is spirit? What do you think the answer to all those 4 questions is? Love. And so the first gift that we can give is to love hard. To love hard. I don't know what your feelings are, thoughts are on Jesus, but I think he's a great master teacher, and most of the lessons that we learn are such great metaphors for the way that we can live our own lives. And just talking about loving your enemies, loving yourself, loving the people around you, that's basically the premises of his entire ministry. And I was thinking about it, it seems kind of cliche to say that to love someone would be a gift, but if you're honest with yourself, I know that we're all able to do this, but how much do you really love yourself? And how much do you really love those who are a pain in your butt? I mean, you can not like people, but how much, it's really unhealthy to not have a place in your heart that feels love, right? It's like that saying about when we hold animosity or frustration or irritation with somebody else, they don't care. We're the ones who are poisoning our own body, right? And so knowing that there's really only one, we're all in this over my head quantum field of intertangled particles and energy together. Whatever we're doing to ourselves and each other. So why not give the gift of love to each other? But it can be hard. It can be really hard. So instead of just intellectualizing it, I have a practice that I use, and it may or may not work for you, but I wanted to invite you to try it. For me, it's foolproof. Anytime I go into a situation where I feel like I might be a little uncomfortable, anytime I have to be around somebody who I don't know about, anytime I'm feeling any kind of irritation or frustration, I do this beforehand, and it's foolproof. You want to try it? Okay. And it's okay if it doesn't work for you. I can be a little off sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and just breathe. And I invite you to just imagine that you're standing as an adult in a room with a chair and a rocking chair, a comfortable room, with another adult. Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's somebody else that we're feeling energy towards, that we're feeling a little bit maybe of hurt or frustration or resentment or confusion. And there's no need to talk to them. Just stand there and take a moment to feel what we feel. Now, fully feeling our feelings, I invite us to just imagine the person before us becoming younger and younger. And as they get younger and younger, all of the hurt within them starts to dissipate. And we see them as a smiling child of pure divinity, of pure light, of pure spirit, who they really are. Somewhere between the age of 7 and maybe an infant. I invite you to just take that child, and I invite you to sit down on the couch or the rocking chair within your mind's eye and hold them tight. Hold them tight, heart to heart. I invite you to just rock them, pat their back. See how sweet and innocent they are. And just tell them you love them. Allowing that energy that we might have to just melt away. Seeing that no matter what, this life before us is perfect. It's pure, it's light, and joy. And when you're ready, I invite you to just put the child down in a safe space. And holding that compassion and love in our hearts, I invite us to bring ourselves back to our body. Whenever you feel ready, open your eyes. What do you think? Feels good, huh? Feels good. It works for me. I like it. It reminds me of reality. It reminds me of two things. One thing Dr. Ernest Holmes says is that all people have more good than bad in them. All people have more good than bad in them. And something else that I remember is that hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. And I have to remind myself of that when I see that I'm getting, short with my family or frustrated with something. What's going on? What's going on? Where am I feeling hurt? Where am I feeling something off, right? We don't need to hold any judgment, vindictiveness, harshness, feelings of revenge or remorse or irritation or frustration towards anyone. We don't have to live in a self-righteousness against people who hurt us, against ourselves, because we live in this amazingly, infinitely intelligent universe that self-regulates. It's the law of cause and effect. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We don't have to do anything about it, right? All our job is to do is to love them, to love everyone. I drove by this Methodist church one time, and you know how they have the little signs that say things? It said, just love everyone, I'll take care of them later. And I mean, I don't care about the hereafter, I care about here and now, but I just thought that was sweet, right? Just love everyone. Like, it's really not worth it to hold anything against anybody else. And I think if you know Reverend Juanita or myself, probably she said it a million more times than I have, but we both agree on this one statement because we know that the science of mind works. And it's in chapter 18 on the law of attraction under attracting friends. And it says, if for selfish reasons alone, if for no loftier reason, we cannot afford to find fault, to hate, to hold resentment against any living soul. Because the God of love cannot hear a prayer that is against love. The God of love cannot hear a prayer that is against love. And so, in our practice, right here and now, we have just given the gift of love to each other, to another person, or maybe to ourselves. So you can check that off your list. Check that off your to-do list. And the next gift that we can give is to forgive even harder. So we're going to love hard, and we are going to forgive even harder. This comedian was pretty wise, wasn't she? You got to keep your ears and your heart open to these messages from Spirit, because you never know where it's going to come from, especially out of her mouth. So here we go again with like this great lesson, right? So you've got this man, Jesus, who's speaking truth, just like, well, we'll get there in a minute, but he's speaking his truth. Everybody else thinks he's kind of, crazy because they go by all these purity laws, and he's not conforming to the Jewish laws and all that, but he's speaking his truth. And so what happens to him? He gets killed for it, right? And before that, his human self comes out, because we all have it. And he goes, why have you forsaken me? I'm the one who's trying to love everybody and share truth with them. Why are you forsaking me? And that's kind of the ego part. The ego is great because it's the thing that tells us that we're good enough and special enough to not want to go stand in the middle of the road and get ran over by a truck, right? It says, no, don't do that. Your life is important. But it can also get us into trouble. But after that, and this is all of us, so we have that human side that's like, why is this happening to me? And then he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that makes me want to cry every time I hear that, because what it reminds me is that we're living collectively in any time that we feel this darkness, it's a collective unconscious ignorance. And ignorance doesn't mean stupidity. It means a lack of information, a lack of knowledge. The knowledge is there is nothing that opposes God. That there is nothing and no power that opposes Spirit. But we believe it, we buy into it, we feel it. It feels like it when we get hurt, right? And we want to hold on to that hurt, and it feels like, God, there must be evil, there must be meanness, there must be cruelty. But there is nothing that opposes spirit. There is only one power. And anything that is unlike that, it's a human choice. It's a human cause, and there will be a human effect, and we'll learn and we'll grow. And for us to have enough compassion for each other, enough thoughtfulness, for us as a humankind to say to ourselves, Father, Mother, God, Spirit, forgive them. Because when we know better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. And that's what we hold for each other. That's what we hold for each other. So then the third lesson is so we're loving hard, we are forgiving even harder. And our third lesson, or not lesson, our gift to the world is to get as happy as we can, as quickly as possible, because the time between living and dying is so short that if we're going to miss it. If we spend our time being frustrated, irritated, irritable, and resentful, or whatever else we want to be, we're going to miss it. And I know that these are thoughts that I've had, so that's why I'm going to share them with you. I have believed in the past that circumstances could determine my happiness, that the people around me could determine my happiness, that maybe having enough money to pay my rent would determine my happiness. I have thought in the past, how dare I be happy? How dare I feel happiness when there are starving people in the world, when there are people who are hurting and in wars and in terrible situations? How dare I? But that perpetuates the situation. In the science of mind philosophy, we believe that what you think about, you bring about, and that we are a collective one mind. So if we're going to continue perpetuating the idea that it's not okay for us to feel joy and to celebrate our life and to celebrate the beauty of who we are, then all we're doing is saying, yeah, life's pretty shitty. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's all it does. And happiness, I love this book. It's these two scientists, researchers, they went around the world to see what makes people happy, like people who are just happy, no matter what. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. Believe me, these people live in huts and they're happy with like 10 people in a hut. And there's every situation and circumstance of people. The three things that creates happiness, or the definition they would say, is that they feel contentment, confidence, and centeredness. That they know that they can walk through life, and no matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, that they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. I want that kind of happiness. I want it for everyone. I want to gift it to myself. I want to gift it to others. Don't you? There was a really cool experience the other night. We were part of the Seal Beach parade, and we had to work on our float like at 5 p.m. because it was raining all day. Do you remember it was raining on Friday? Okay, so we're out there doing all that, and Tina had these, literally this, okay? So when I tell you this story, think about this. A woman's walking down the street and sees Tina wearing this, and she goes, "Oh, I like your necklace." You did just silly old necklace, right? And Tina takes it off and gives it to her, puts it on her. And she starts crying. And she goes, "You know what? I just lost everything. I lost, when that fire that killed 89 people," she goes, "I lost my house, every possession I ever had." She goes, "I lost all my rental properties." She goes, "But you know what? I'm alive. I'm so happy that I'm alive." And she starts crying, and Tina's like, I'm sorry if and she goes, "I'm just so grateful. Thank you for sharing yourself with me. Thank you for giving this to me and just being kind." It was so sweet. What a great example of not needing any circumstance to be perfect to be able to feel joy and happiness. You see, spirit, God, divine intelligence, it's omniscient. Right? So it is all-knowing, it is omnipresent, it is everywhere. It is in and through all things, and it is the only thing that is reality. When you break down our bodies to the most minute particles, they are light. They are just energy and light. How could we not? How could we not want to love that? How could we not want to forgive that? How could we not want to be filled with happiness? But it's a choice. It's a choice, right? And we have to be disciplined. I was just talking with Michael about this the other day. I was like, people, because I've been listening to a lot of Joe Dispenza and Tony Robbins. I don't know why they were just on YouTube, and I've been listening to them. So the one thing I learned about them is they wake up at 3 a.m. to get their workout in, to eat right, and to do everything that they need to do. And I said, Michael, you know what creates a great life, a fulfilled life? Discipline. And he's like, yeah, I know. But it's true. We have to, if we really want to be who we think and who we say we want to be, if we really want to love without condition, if we really want to love our so-called enemies, if we really want to forgive, if we really want to be happy, we have to discipline our mind and our heart and our spirit and our thoughts. We have to. And I know that you guys, I am so, I could cry, I'm so grateful for you because you are my biggest teacher. You are the wisdom keepers. Chris, open your eyes. You're my wisdom keeper. I'm just kidding. You are. But I'm serious. I learned so much, and because of you all, and because we get to be in community together, my heart gets to open, and I get to put my money where my mouth is and practice. And I hope that you feel inspired to practice as well, because it's okay to feel good about yourself, and it's okay to be alive. So let's give these gifts. Let's love hard, forgive even harder, and get as happy as we can, as quickly as we can, because life is going to be gone in the blink of an eye. And I'm sure that it's going to be greater afterwards. I don't know what it's going to be like, really, but let's just enjoy this and do it together, okay? Okay, and so it is. Yes? I love you. Thank you.